Welcome back to Speech, everybody. We are rolling through our practice speeches of the informational style, and I'm just really digging all these musical instruments coming in here. It looks like Jesse brought his bass today, saxophone, chocolate. It's kind of an instrument, I guess. We're going to get started. Get rolling through these so we make it all the way through. Mary Ann's going to go first. Come on up here. Where'd that guy go? He just sat down and took off. Hey, you supposed to be in here? What's that? Oh, come on in here. Yeah, come on in. You're the new trainee? I am. So just go in the little room in there. Okay, give me just a second here while you get settled. I'll get settled.
Are we using this desk camera?
Okay, what's that?
Are we using this desk camera?
You may, certainly.
Okay.
You want to just put something over there and test it out?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just put it on the screen. Can we have the desk cam, please?
I don't need it right now.
We just want to make sure it works,
Okay, yeah.
so they're ready. We don't have, it doesn't have to be on right now. We just want the desk camera. There you go. Okay, it works. So we don't need it right now. We just want to make sure it worked. Awesome.
You going? Okay.
Thank you.
I just want to see the position.
Whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Okay. It's okay.
Good. Okay.
Okay.
All right, you're on.
Okay. Potassium sorbate and calcium propionate. First, a 2019 Harvard study found that calcium propionate, when added to meals, triggered hormonal changes in both mice and humans, leading to insulin resistance, weight gain, and a lot of metabolic disruptions that clearly raise risk for obesity and diabetes. Second, a study in the Food and Chemical Toxicology in 2010 found that potassium sorbate, when it has the right conditions, can form compounds that damage your DNA. And damaging your DNA is the first step towards cancer. You're probably wondering why I'm telling you about these weird chemicals and what does it have to do with you? Well, what if I told you that these ingredients and these chemicals, I should say, they appear in our everyday lives? These preservatives, potassium sorbate and calcium propionate that I just mentioned, are commonly used in baked goods and breads. So at Walmart, if you turn around like the little croissants, a lot of them will have the potassium sorbate or calcium propionate. These two chemicals, out of the hundreds in our foods, have been shown to cause adverse health effects and decrease quality of life, which we will get into later. Today, I will explain what clean ingredients actually are, how to spot them, and why being able to recognize what clean ingredients are can benefit you. So, first, what are clean ingredients? To put it simply, they are recognizable, minimally processed, simple ingredients. So, an example that I have brought with me straight out my kitchen, it might be blurry. Okay. So here's some simple ingredients. It's a little bit blurry, but you can tell that there's like 4 or 5 ingredients. And as you can see, it's like natural sour, cultured flour. That's just, this is sourdough bread, so this is like sourdough starter. That's all that's in it. It's just that. So that is an example of a clean ingredient. And this is important because whole foods, clean ingredients like this are easy to process and numerous nutritional benefits for one's health. So now that you know what clean ingredients are and what they look like, you need to know how to spot them. But the answer to this might seem obvious, but unfortunately food industries have gone quite clever on hiding harmful ingredients. So the general rule is less is more. When looking at any snack or product, you just want to have a small ingredients list like this one that I showed. So a lot of diet snacks like Fiber One brownies, rice cakes, protein bars especially, which I know everyone loves their protein bars, but they are full of chemicals if you don't get the right one. And other cereals that claim to be quote on heart healthy are some of the biggest users of harmful ingredients in their products. And you'll notice these types of products having a giant ingredients list. So I didn't have it, but I just brought the back of one of these breads. You can't really, this is a little bit zoomed in, but it has a very long ingredients list, and this one also has the calcium probonate and potassium sorbonate right here that I mentioned earlier in my speech of the two of the harmful preservatives in bread. So sometimes instead of leaning towards things that may look healthy, because this also says, it's very misleading, it says natural ovens, keto-friendly bread, and then it has all this crap in it. So sometimes just having the real bread, the real sourdough, the real thing that it comes from, is much better than trying to find some diet-free, sugar-free, keto, whatever. It's a lot healthier for you in the end. So now that you know what clean ingredients look like and how to spot them, why is this relevant to your health and why do you care? Let's talk about what's actually hiding in packaged foods. Earlier I mentioned two examples, the calcium probonate and the calcium probonate and the sodium potassium sorbate. Too much chemistry for me. But these two are used in bread and they're tied to obesity and type 2 diabetes. And some lab studies suggest that these two types of preservatives can actually cause ADHD in adolescents, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. So repeated use of this, giving your kids, may lead to ADHD later on. And those are just the tip of the iceberg. Other common preservatives raise similar concerns. So I talked about two, but there's hundreds in our food. And Europe has banned a lot of these in other countries, but America still has them in our food. A lot of like food dyes and stuff that you may be familiar with, those are banned in other countries, whereas here they're not. So sodium nitrate is an example of one that's in deli meat. It's a carcinogen. It's a cancer-causing compound, is what that means. I just can't pronounce it. BHA in cereals is also a cancer-causing compound. Sodium benzoate, which is in soda, also cancer-causing compound. So basically my point is, these are just two that I'm mentioning out of the many in our food. And all of this to say, it's important to be aware of what you're eating, especially as a college student who I assume you want to improve your sleep and quality, energy and focus, productivity, gut health, and overall health and longevity. Because eating can either be beneficial to your health or it can be extremely detrimental to your health. So the choice is up to you. So the next time you're out grocery shopping and grabbing your usual snacks, take a second to flip the package over. If you can't even pronounce half of the things on the back of it, ask yourself if that's really something you want to put in your body. And if the answer is yes, you still don't care, you just want to put it, like, it's Nutella, it's really good, you want it anyway, maybe try to find a cleaner alternative. If sometimes the cleaner alternatives are a little bit more expensive, but you can find them on a deal sometimes. So most of the time, another brand has the same kind of food with far better ingredients, just like this bread. Far better ingredients than whatever this chemical-filled bread that I showed earlier. And it even tastes better, too. So that's the conclusion of my little spill on preservatives. Are there any questions?
So you think sourdough is the healthiest bread?
Yeah, so it actually is. It's the most easily digestible on your digestive system because it's how it's made. It has that probiotic bacteria because it's a yeast, which is why it's like the yeast culture in here. So it's the most easily digestible. But if you don't like sourdough, there's a lot of brands out there that make white bread, like Dave's Killer Bread. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. That's a cleaner bread. It's a brand that attempts to make cleaner breads. And there's like breads that have like an ingredients list of like this long. It's actually crazy. You just sometimes don't realize it until you compare it to foods that have like 3 ingredients. You're like, oh, it's actually what I'm supposed to be eating. So
One thing I missed was your credibility statement, which is why are you talking about this?
It was to provide college students with basically being able to know what harmful ingredients are and how to spot clean ingredients versus the harm to improve your overall health and longevity, especially as a college student, because it has been shown that, obviously eating bad and everything can decrease your sleep quality, your energy and focus, and things like that. So just being able to be a little bit aware about your food and make better choices can provide overall longer health in the end.
Okay, so you're going to put that up front. You're going to tell us I'm a college student, and as a result of that, I'm learning about good health and how to stay healthy and all that, so that someone can go forward. So you might include that somewhere, but I made a note of that.
Sounds good.
Okay. So
Oh, I'm done.
say thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, very good. Jasmine is up next.
Did you know that about 1 in every 182 schools, some students are diagnosed with autism? Today I'll be talking about autism in a classroom. Can you switch to this camera?
Who's that? Can you switch to the desk cam? There you go.
Okay. That's my stepbrother. He's 17 years old. His name is Mason. He has autism. On a daily basis, he thinks and processes things differently compared how everybody else does. At first, when I first met him, it was something hard to understand and communicate with him about things. But the more that I was around him, the more that I was able to understand how he processed and how I'm able to communicate with him. As it was easier for me to understand, it might have been different in a classroom. Today I'll cover what autism is, how they might process information outside and inside of a classroom, and some challenges that might follow in a classroom. What is autism? Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD for short, is a complex developmental condition that affects some individuals to communicate, interact, and behave. Symptoms are typically appear in early childhood. Some autism kids are smarter than others, like my stepbrother, for instance. Based on the recent data from 2022, about 1 in 31 children are diagnosed with ASD. Children with ASD often process things differently inside and outside of the classroom. Inside of the classroom, sensory input like bright lights or loud noises, as like a classroom getting loud and noisy, they can feel overwhelmed. So breaking down instructions into smaller processes or using visual supports can make things easier for them to learn. Group work can also be tiring and confusing for them. So sometimes doing self-work by themselves can help them also learn. Outside of classroom, one-on-one interactions are usually more comfortable than large groups, and consistent routines at home make life smoother for at home and in a classroom. Tools like headphones or sensory supports can also help with their stress and self-regulation. Students with ASD may face challenges in a classroom such as sensory sensitive to bright lights or loud noises. Like my stepbrother, for instance, he has headphones to cancel out the noises when he rides the bus home. Communicating can be really limited, like with eye contact, they might look away. Some do, my stepbrother, for instance, he does eye contact, I'm sorry. Some behaviors that might seem disruptive are actually coping skills. My stepbrother, Mason, he does jumping when he gets really excited. It's noisy, but he is really excited. It can be about anything. He's excited, he jumps. Teachers can support, students with flexible methods, by have visual aids or hands-on learning, creating predictable routines to reduce their stress, also supporting other students to help them be more welcomed in the classroom. Autism is important to know about because it affects 1 million people on a daily basis. Some people see them as weird or strange, but they're the same as everybody else. ASD is an awareness that can lead or help ASD themselves and others how to accept themselves and get support and understand each and every one of them. If there wasn't any awareness, many children would go undiagnosed or misunderstood. This is why it's important to be more supportive to teach other students how they should treat someone with ASD. How to be more understanding that they're different in their own way, and that is okay. In order for a classroom to be more inclusive, we all have to remember that we all learn in a different way, and that's completely okay. And that's my spill. Any questions? No?
Have you done any deep research on the causes of autism?
No.
We just heard Marianne talking a little bit about how a bad diet, for example, can potentially cause some ADHD issues. So just wonder if there were, because there's a lot of discussion about why that happens.
Yeah.
And why are there more autistic people now than perhaps there used to be? Or was it that used to be people didn't recognize it as autism and call it something else? So I was curious about that. Okay.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay, Ireland's left us Grace. Right. I always enjoy the musical instruments show up.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I know a lot of you in here are also musicians, and I want you to think about if there has ever been a time where, you didn't actually like your instrument. And for most people, that isn't the case. But for me, that has quite often been the case where I ended up needing a break to figure out how much it meant to me. Today, I wanted to share a little bit about the history of the saxophone, why it's important to me, and just how it works and all that kind of stuff. I've played the saxophone for over 7 years, and interestingly, when most people think saxophone, right, they think jazz, they think music like that, and I never played jazz ever. We did not have a jazz program at my school. I play classical and contemporary music most of the time. Traditionally, the saxophone was used for military bands, and people would play it on the side, like on a horse, when they were marching into battle, or they would use it for military bands. And so a lot of the times, people usually either play it in the center or people play it on the side because that was its traditional use. And there are actually multiple types of saxophones, and the bigger saxophones are always played on the side just because they're so heavy and it puts a lot of strain on your neck and your back to use it in the middle. And also, lots of the most famous composers, such as Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, passed away before the saxophone was ever invented. So a lot of the times, most of the well-known classical music you hear, if a saxophone's playing it, it's actually been transposed for the saxophone. So some of the techniques are a lot harder to play because you have to use your mouth, and you can't, pluck a string like on a guitar or hit a key on a piano. You're making all of those sounds with your mouth. And so some of the accents or the intonations that you're trying to make are harder when you're just using your embouchure, which is how you use your mouth while you play. And a lot of people think that the saxophone is a brass instrument because it's yellow and it looks like it's, because it is made of metal, but it's actually a woodwind instrument. And the reason is the mouthpiece here, and the sound is made with the reed, and it vibrates against the mouthpiece, and that is what creates the sound, similar to the vibration of a string on a stringed instrument. And it's a woodwind because typically reeds are made of cane, which is like cane wood. I know mine does not look like cane. That's because it's made of plastic. I prefer to play on synthetic reeds just because you don't have to replace them as often. They last longer. They don't break as easily, especially it's very good if you have an audition and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want my reed to break. So I always use synthetic reeds because I like them better. And there are also, one of the other benefits about playing an instrument is the sense of community that it creates for you. I was a part of lots of either small groups like duets, quartets, and then at my school we also had a saxophone ensemble, which was like a big group of us who all played the saxophone, and we all played all the different types. And I usually either played soprano saxophone, which is the highest pitched one that we had, or alto, which is the one I have with me today. And then I actually have 2 alto saxophones, but one of them was my starter one. It's very dingy and old, and I used to march with it. So I brought my nice one today for my speech. And when we were in that group, we got to go on lots of trips and expand that sense of community with other people. We went to lots of conferences in different colleges. We went to Southern University of Mississippi, and we went to the University of Colorado in Boulder this past spring, and we also went to Chicago to a big event. It was the Midwest Band and Orchestra Clinic, and there's a bunch of international bands there and stuff, and it was very interesting to broaden perspectives from how people do things in different countries, what kind of music they play, and what all brought them there to one place in Chicago. And it was very good to be a part of that and get all of those perspectives for something that creates community for a lot of different types of people. And then recently, I haven't actually played my saxophone in a while because I took a little bit of a break, and it's been hard for me with my identity as a musician because there isn't really anything for musicians at this school. And so I've been trying to find ways to continue playing and keep that sense of community while I'm here. And so in closing, I just want to say that sometimes, you don't realize what you have until you give it up. And for me, it was I had to stop playing for a while to realize how much it meant to me. And all of the interesting things that I've learned along the way have really brought me back to the instrument that I didn't think I needed for a while. Any questions?
Still play your old one?
If I need to play it outside, I'll play the old one sometimes, but they're the same. They're both alto saxophones. This one, a lot of the times the older ones get leaks at the bottom, like the keys. So a leak happens when there's space between the key, which is like this part, and that part down there, and it makes the lower notes resonate not as well. So I usually like to play on my new one just because it works better.
Sounds better. All right, anybody else?
So you mentioned you did a marching band. Do you have a favorite show that your band did?
My senior year show, it was called Fall of the Crown, and I actually had like a soprano solo in it, so that was pretty cool. That one like stuck out to me. It was like, especially because it's senior year, so that one was my favorite that we did.
Can you play a riff or run for us?
I'd prefer not to.
Okay, I'm not gonna force you by any means. Okay,
Thank you.
Rand, good job. Maybe next week. Caden. Where's Caden? Not here? Okay, Alyssa? Bailey, Kendall, Jesse, Hunter. That's it. There's 4 more. Good time here.
Can I have this camera?
Yes. Okay. Getting there? So can we get on the big screen too? Or the TV screen?
So this is my show lamb that I showed last year. I've showed since I was 8 years old, but this was my favorite one. His name was Chubbs. So picture this. You're standing in the middle of a livestock show. The lights are bright, the crowd is watching, and your heart is racing. But you stay focused because months of hard work, feeding, grooming, and training your sheep have led to this moment. That's the experience of showing sheep in FFA. Hello. Today I want to talk to you about showing sheep in FFA. You might think that it's just about raising animals, but it's really about learning responsibility, patience, and skills that help in everyday life. I was raised on a farm where we bred and lambed out our own show lambs. Along the way, I've learned lessons about discipline, hard work, and time management that go beyond the barn. Today, I'll cover 3 things. First, how we raise and prepare the sheep. Second, the skills and techniques used to show. And third, the personal and educational benefits that come from participating in livestock shows. The first step in showing sheep is raising and caring for them. This means feeding them the right diet, checking their health, and keeping their pens clean. You also have to handle them a lot so that they get used to people and so that they don't move a lot when you're showing them. It's a big commitment because you are caring for an animal that really depends on you. You have to watch their growth and make sure that they are gaining weight at the right rate. So to get them ready for the show, they have to be physically ready. Basically, if you don't put in the time at this stage, all of the rest of the time doesn't matter. Once your sheep is healthy, it's time to focus on showmanship. This is how you present your sheep in the ring to the judge, so that he can see their muscle, body structure, and their overall health. You have to learn how to lead your sheep, position the sheep, and keep it from moving. Grooming it also has a huge part in this. You wash them, brush them, and make sure that they look their best. These skills take patience and practice, but mastering them makes a big difference. Trust me, when your sheep is standing still and then looks perfect, it really pays off. Showing sheep isn't just about winning ribbons, it teaches you real life skills. You learn responsibility because the sheep depends on you. You learn time management because you have to balance school, chores, and showing. You also gain confidence, teamwork skills by interacting with judges and FFA members. And sometimes you have to give short speeches about your animal. These lessons stick with you and can help you in any career, not just in an agriculture career. So even if you don't plan on becoming a farmer, showing livestock in FFA still gives you valuable experiences. In conclusion, showing sheep in FFA is about a lot more than just animals. You learn how to care for them, how to present them, and how to grow as a person. It takes time, patience, and effort, but the lessons you learn, like responsibility, discipline, and confidence, are worth it. The next time you see a sheep, remember the hard work and dedication that was put into that animal. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
There you go. Questions? Does the shower get judged?
Yeah, so not really in showmanship, so there's a showmanship class and then you do other classes. But like in showmanship, you're the one being judged, not the sheep. So how you carry yourself when you're walking the sheep or how you set up the sheep, because other judges have their own preferences. Like some judges don't like you reaching over your sheep when you go to set a leg. They would rather you walk around and set it instead of reaching over it.
Do you have sort of an attitude in your head when you go out there?
Yeah, if you can't see on my face, I have other pictures, but on my face, I just look like, you better pick me or we're gonna have an issue. So.
Anybody else? Okay.
So do you have to keep strict eye contact with the judges, or is that just kind of like a from judge to judge type of thing?
Mainly, yeah, you want to make sure you're keeping eye contact with the judge, but obviously you can't stare at them, but you're supposed to keep eye contact, yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you.
Right, good job. Up next is Bailey.
Imagine taking a bite of your favorite food and suddenly you're out of breath and you cannot breathe. For people with alpha-gal syndrome, this is an everyday occurrence, and today about 1 every 740 Americans live with it. Alpha-gal syndrome is a tick-borne illness that causes allergic reactions to animal products and other red meat. About 450,000 people in the US suffer from this disease, and the number continues to rise each year. I know about this illness not just from research, but from personal experience. I was bitten by a tick as a child, and ever since then, I developed allergies to almost every single food group out there. However, I was not aware I had this condition until this past year. Today, I'll explain 3 things: the history of alpha-gal syndrome, the symptoms and challenges of living with it, and how I personally been managing this condition. Alpha-gal syndrome was first recognized in the early 2000s when doctors noticed strange reactions to animal products. Researchers discovered it comes from the bite of a Lone Star tick, which injects a sugar molecule called alpha-gal into the bloodstream. Later on, when a person goes to eat any kind of animal product, their body will react as though it's being attacked. Thousands of cases have been reported across the United States, especially in the South and Midwest. But many more go undiagnosed. Not everybody who gets bit by a Lone Star tick will go on to develop alpha-gal syndrome. However, millions of people are bitten each year, but only about 1% actually go on to develop the disease. In other words, getting bit does not always mean that you'll get the condition, but repeated bites and certain risk factors can increase your chances. Symptoms of this disease can range from stomach pain, nausea, to more life-threatening allergic reactions such as throat swelling and trouble breathing. In my case, eating almost any kind of animal product causes my body to physically reject it, and it leaves me feeling extremely lightheaded and out of breath. Over time, I realized that avoiding these foods entirely was better off than risking the consequences. Like I said before, I was only recently able to name this condition. At first, only a couple foods affected me, but the list grew longer until everything I ate made me sick. For about 5 years, I would experience daily episodes that felt like a severe asthma attack, and these would happen each time I ate food. They would last for hours also. I felt hopeless. I got tested for asthma, but when the results came back negative, I felt lost and confused. It wasn't until I had food sensitivity tests done this past year but everything started to make sense. My list of allergies includes gluten, dairy, oats, potatoes, red meat, wheat, eggs, and so on. Before I understood what was happening, my diet looked like the typical healthy routine. Each morning I would make avocado toast with eggs, and for dinner I would have steak or potatoes. But no matter how healthy I ate, everything made me sick, and I still felt miserable. Once I realized what foods were causing my symptoms, I had to completely adjust. Since then, I found alternatives that not only work for me, but also give me variety. For example, each morning I make my own protein-based coffee instead, which is just blonde espresso poured over a protein shake. I found that this gives me the protein I need without relying on eggs or meat. I've also switched from beef to lean protein, like chicken and seafood, and I found that rice has become my new staple because it pairs well with almost everything. Of course, making these changes was not easy at first, but over time I got used to it. And I discovered that everything has an alternative if you really want to look for it. One of my favorite go-tos lately has been dark chocolate because the more cacao it's in it, the less dairy it's in it, which makes it safer to eat. These have been my favorite thing for the past 5 years. So today, we looked at how alpha-gal syndrome develops, what its symptoms look like, and how I personally have been managing this condition. Alpha-gal syndrome might sound rare, but it's a growing problem that could affect anyone who spends time outdoors. If you've ever had a strange allergic reaction to food, it's worth looking into. For me, this condition has been tough, but it's also taught me to appreciate the simple things in life. I'll never look at eating or breathing the same way again, and I'm grateful to finally enjoy a meal without pain, and even more grateful for the ability to finally breathe again. Any questions?
Would you say the name of the condition again for us slowly?
Alpha-gal syndrome.
Alpha-gal syndrome. Okay.
Does it last forever?
Yes.
There's no cure?
So dark chocolate for life.
Yes. And chicken.
Okay.
Does anybody want any?
Good stuff. All right, make sure you say thank you. There you go. Okay, good. All right, yay. Way to go, Bailey. Okay, we have Kendall is next. And Jesse Hunter. We should be able to get everybody in just in time.
And then I'll use the desk cam in a little bit as a speech.
Okay, so just be aware. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you.
According to the Smithsonian Institution, millions of people, native and non-native, attend powwows annually. Yet, many people outside of the native community don't know what actually happens at a powwow or why they're important. I'm going to be talking about powwows. They are important gatherings for many Native American communities. Even if you've never been to one, powwows are relevant because they represent living traditions, community connections, and resilience. They're open to everyone and they're a way to experience Native culture. As someone who frequently attends powwows with my Native community, I've personally experienced the meaning and importance they have. I've also learned from my family members and elders on traditions and the history. Powwows are more than just celebrations. They're cultural, social, and educational spaces. I'll cover the history and the purpose of powwows, the cultural traditions and experiences that you will have there, and the role powwows play in the community and Native identity today. Powwows have a deep-rooted history in Native survival and cultural expression. They develop intertribal gatherings where people could share traditions, especially after colonization restricted ceremonies. According to the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indians, powwows grew in the late 19th and 20th centuries as a way to preserve culture. And they preserve culture and they blend traditional practices with a lot of modern adaptations. Powwows are filled with powerful traditions that bring people together. The drum, singing, and dances are central to the event. The drum is often called the heart of the people. And to each dance, from men's fancy dance, women's traditional cloth, and women's jingle dress, they all carry meaning. Regalia, which a lot of people mistake as costumes that Native people wear, are actually handmade and they're deeply personal to every individual. You cannot go online and buy a bunch of regalia without it being super expensive, because most of the time they're all handmade for certain people based on families, tribes, and spirituality. So I would normally bring a piece of my regalia to show you, but right now I am in a time of mourning because I lost my grandpa, and it depends on what Native group you are, what your family believes in traditions, but my family believes we shouldn't touch any of our regalia, eagle feathers, because all of it is sacred to us, and you'll just put a lot of bad energies into them. A lot of the times you can't touch any like eagle feathers, for example, because they're super powerful and you could kill the good spirits and all the prayers that you have in it. So all I had to bring was a little beaded earring that isn't finished because I sold all the ones that I had finished. But it is just like a beaded piece of earrings that a lot of people wear, because you can wear ribbon skirts, beaded earrings. You don't even have to dress up to go to powwows. You can wear normal clothes. But beyond traditions, powwows continue to strengthen Native identity and community. They serve as reunions for families. They can be fundraisers for different tribal programs and safe spaces to pass down traditions to younger generations. Many powwows welcome non-Native visitors, offering a chance to learn and build respect between cultures. Anybody can go to any powwows. We definitely invite anyone who's never been to one. I took 2 of my friends to go to the Tulsa powwow a couple weeks ago, and all you need to bring is a chair and some money to buy stuff, because there's a bunch of food and different vendors you can look at that sell things like earrings. You can buy any earrings, really any type of Native items. It's good to support Native communities and what they do, because a lot of the times non-Native people, or like on Amazon, try to sell similar things which don't benefit the Native community. But even for Native youth, dressing up or even attending gatherings helps stay connected to heritage in the modern world. So, powwows are more than just events. They're culture, traditions, living history, and community gatherings that keep Native identity strong. If you ever decide to attend a powwow and hear the beat of the drum, remember it's not just music, it's the sound of survival, connection, and resilience. Any questions?
What's your category?
My category?
Like when you dance, do you dance in any of the categories, powwows, or?
Right now I do traditional cloth, because whenever I'm the Caddo Nation princess, we don't do any of the like fancy looking dances. Most of those are northern, and I can't dance I can't dance or wear anything outside of the Caddo our Caddo Nation, because I'm Caddo, Kiowa, Delaware, Creek, and Seminole. But I can't wear anything else besides Caddo right now, or else I'd be doing buckskin. I do stomp dance, and then I do want to do jingle. But a lot of the times, if you want to dance something that's outside of any of your tribes, you have to be brought into the powwow arena by somebody, either a friend or family member, that would invite you to dance, because everything is sacred and spiritual. Yep.
How long does it take to make the earrings?
They normally take a couple of hours. That I'm not even done with this one. There still has to be like edging around it and the backing, but that probably took me about 2 hours just for the little piece. But everything that gets made is all with intention. A lot of the time you'll see maybe 1 or 2 beads that are misplaced on people's regalia or earrings that they wear, but that's because a lot of people believe that nothing is perfect, and you shouldn't try to make something that is perfect, and you need to accept flaws in everything, because they're not really flaws in how you look at them.
All right.
Thank you.
We have Jesse and then Hunter. You want to get these in? We're like 10 minutes, so we'll pop up there and let's get this one knocked out. Should be able to make it. Hunter, if we get to the point, I don't want to cut you off, so we'll see where he is when he ends. And then what we'll do is you can go first next Monday if we don't have enough time. That will be your practice one. And then you can, at the end, you can do your final one.
Okay.
Let's just see how long this one lasts. See how loquacious Jesse is. Good college word for you, loquacious. Anybody know what that means? You talk a lot. Okay. All right, you're on.
I'm here today to tell you or talk to you all about the bass guitar, which is pretty important to me. So like I did marching band for 7 years as well, and I played trombone during it. And outside of high school, I kind of had no way. I kind of stopped playing it because there's no marching band here. There were no like local organizations or local bands for me to play. But I still kind of keep a connection with music through my bass. It really interested me. One, because it's a lot quieter than a trombone. Like trying to play that in a dorm would have gone well. But also bass guitar uses the same like the same notation kind of as trombone. So they're both in bass clef versus treble versus being written in treble clef. And not only that, but with trombone, more often than not, like because you're using slide positions, you'll write like numbers, because each slide has a number attached to it. So a lot of my sheet music for trombone would be, it looked like 4, 3, 7. And bass is really similar. Guitar is also similar in that, where you have tablature instead of traditional sheet music, which is like numbers. Like each string has a line and each number on a string corresponds to a note. Like a 3 on the bottom line would correlate to a 3 on the E string. Unlike some of the bass is obviously not really a acoustic instrument most of the time. It's usually electric. This is electric, and I can play it without an amp. Typically I do because it's a lot quieter. But if you wanted to play for like a concert or like an event or something like that, you would typically have an amp and you would plug it into, plug in like a cable that would connect to the amp and amplify the sound. Electric guitars work similar with that. Something why I play bass and not guitar, because I did play guitar for a little bit. Electric guitar, I enjoyed it, but I have really clumsy fingers, and I struggled a lot with chords. With bass, you typically don't play like as many chords, one, because you have 4 strings and they're more spaced out, so it's a bit harder. You typically rely, or because you're playing like a bass line, you know, you're not gonna play too many chords, but there's other techniques tend to be more important, like slides, hammer-offs, and pull-ons, which a slide is when you slide from one note to the other while like playing it. Like a hammer-on is where you're playing one note and you strike another note. And a pull-off is when you play a note and like pull it off. Like those are there's other techniques, but I'm not the best with bass, so I don't really know them. There's like slap bass, which I've been really wanting to learn, but I play with a pick, so and I'm also in college, so I haven't gotten much time around to it. And I did bring some examples of some picks. I should have got these out earlier. Here's two examples of like some picks that I have, and some people do prefer to play with finger for bass. You would kind of reach over like this. I played with the wrong posture for so long because I self-taught myself. So I don't really prefer to play with fingers. I prefer to play with pick. Here's like a proper like bass guitar pick. It's a bit more firmer than a like guitar pick, and it's a little bit sharper. And here is a pick I made from my buddy's old school ID because I did not have one at the time. And you can tell this one is obviously not shaped as well. It's a bit eroded, kind of, because I've played with it so much, it's a lot flatter. Playing any musical instrument can make you appreciate music a lot more. And I think that especially with bass, because it's typically not like part of music you would focus on, like the bass line. But it kind of teaches you to kind of listen to songs a little bit differently, hearing parts you might not have acknowledged before. And it also can help, like I fidget a lot, I get really nervous. And it can help with that somewhat, like if you pain stem, like picking at your nails, biting your nails, that sort of thing. Building up those calluses can kind of help kind of soothe those urges.
Okay, we better wrap it up.
Yep. I hope y'all learned something about the bass today. Thank you for having me.
Any questions?
Any questions?
There you go. Oh, all right. So just thank you.
Thank you.
I don't want to make you rush through it, so we're going to start with you next Monday.
Okay.
Okay? Let's go that way. And what do we have here? 2 minutes left. I'll hop up here and talk just a little bit. I thought everybody did a good job today. And of course, I made the notes on your critique sheets. So when we come back next week, Monday, first thing Hunter will go and do his practice. And then subsequent to that, we'll just jump right back into the finals. And hopefully you'll be able to apply the things that we've talked about with regard to your critiques on your next set of speeches.
Which group is going first?
We'll go the same order we went last time. So we'll do the second half and then the first half.
What's the difference between this one and the next week's?
You apply what you learned from the critique sheets to this next one.
Are we gonna talk about like different things or?
No, same thing, same speech. The whole idea is that you practice it, get some feedback, and then do it again with that feedback to make it better. And so what we're trying to instill this idea that you need to practice and you need to get some feedback. So, some of you will see I say, well, talk more than read. So you don't want to get up here and just read the whole thing. You want to get up here and talk to us. And use those notes as your safety net, but not your primary way of delivering the information. Some things like that. Otherwise, I thought everybody did a good job. I'm always counting your likes and ums and that kind of thing, so you'll see that. But I thought everyone did well today, and we'll look forward to seeing y'all next Monday, and we'll do Hunters, and then we'll start on the final ones. Any other questions? We've got 30 seconds left. Okay, well, I wish you a good weekend. Be safe. Make good choices. If you get in trouble, don't call me. Call your folks. If your folks aren't available, then you can call me and I'll do what I can. We'll see you later. Oh wait, don't forget your critique sheets. Let's see, Jasmine.